Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Indian Quester, a channel where I will be diving into all things Oculus Quest and my experience with it. For context, I am based in India and have had over 30 hours of play on the Oculus Quest 2 and can talk about a thing or two now. The reason I decided to make this video is because there aren't enough Indian perspectives on this headset currently, and I've had to do plenty of research before purchase and during usage. I'm putting this out there in the hopes of making my research and experience count for someone else who is looking to splurge on VR. For this video, we'll dive into aspects ranging from what is the Oculus Quest 2, how to purchase this if you're in India, specifics on variants and battery life extension, accessories worth the splurge, and the first few experiences you would want your family and friends to have when they put this piece of marvel on. Okay, so you've been reading up a bit on the Quest 2 online or have heard your friends talk about it. What's the big deal anyway? The VR that most folks in India may know of is the type of headset where you typically have a slot to put your mobile in and where you can largely view 360-degree videos. This type of VR though does zero justice to the real deal, which is Oculus Quest 2. The Quest 2 is an advanced standalone VR headset with incredible graphics, 3D cinematic sound, next level hardware, processing power, and a great display that provides a phenomenal viewing and immersion experience, not to mention the rapidly increasing library of awesome apps and games. It is the next big leap in gaming and it's already here for the taking. Alright, let's first discuss what you need to do to get your hands on one of these. Given Oculus doesn't have a presence in India currently, there's really just two options. If you have friends or family staying in any of the countries where Oculus officially retails, and if they're heading to India sometime soon, you can request them to pick it up for you. Since Oculus is manufactured in the US, however, Quest 2 would retail for relatively cheaper in the US as compared to other countries. Case in point, the 64 gig variant retails for $299 in the US, whereas in UK, for example, it retails for £299, which effectively works out to slightly over 400 US dollars. Now, the second way to purchase this, as I'm sure a lot of you would be aware of, is through third-party sellers on Amazon. These, however, tend to be exorbitantly priced, keeping in mind custom duty charges and a profit margin for the seller. At the time of making this video, the 64 gig variant is selling for 45,000 rupees and the 256 gig for around 59,000 rupees, or in other words, a steep $800. Now keep in mind, the 256 gig actually retails for $399, so you'll be effectively paying twice the amount if you choose to pick it up from Amazon.in. I do remember it retailing for around 50,000 in the last week of December though, so the price range really varies. Now, which variant should you opt for and why? Well, if you can afford it, go in for the 256. There are a few reasons for this. The price gap between the two variants isn't too high, but more importantly, as VR is likely to become the next big thing in gaming immersion, you can expect a lot of games to get a lot bigger in size. With the 64 gig, you can expect then to delete some games over a period of time in order to make space for newer ones. This will likely, however, not be a problem if you were to pick up the 256 gig variant. If you are someone who prefers to play PC games on your Quest, storage will not be an issue and you can opt for 64 gigs. So say you've now decided to pick up a Quest 2. There are a few accessories that you should definitely consider adding to your cart. The first one would be a carrying case. Whether you choose to pick up the official Oculus one or a third-party one is entirely up to you. A carrying case is incredibly useful when you're traveling anywhere with this headset. Carrying it in any other form might risk lens scratches or damage, and that's not something we want given it's the most important part of this experience. Speaking of lenses, another accessory you should consider if you wear glasses are prescription lenses. That's not to say that if you wear glasses you can't experience Quest 2, but let's just say it's not ideal. Quest 2 does come with a glasses spacer right out of the box, but depending on the size of your head and your glasses, you may find it a bit of a squeeze. Not to mention you do run the risk of scratching your glasses to your Quest 2 lenses if you're not careful enough. Now, I personally didn't opt for these lenses, but in hindsight, I totally should have, seeing as how my partner who wears glasses struggles with this sometimes. Another accessory that should be on your list if you have a particularly larger or smaller head size is the Fit Pack that retails officially. These include a wider facial interface and a narrow facial interface. The Fit Pack also comes with light blockers that you can place on top of lenses, and those should help block out some of the light that creeps up through your nose gap below. This definitely helps with game immersion. Another must have accessory, in my opinion, is a silicone cover for your facial interface. You'll notice as you play along, especially during intense games, that you tend to break a sweat. Now, the stock foam does absorb sweat, and if not cleaned regularly, could give off a foul odor and may not be hygienic for others to use. A silicone cover is one that snugly fits around your facial interface, absorbs no sweat, and will conveniently wipe off any sweat with just a swipe. Let's discuss battery now then. The battery life on the headset isn't ideal. A full charge will last you for only about 2 to 2.5 hours on continuous gameplay. The controllers, however, are a different story. Each controller requires a AA battery and they last a really long time. For context, I got my Quest 2 on 22nd December and the controller life is currently still at 70%, which is pretty impressive. An important point to note here is that once your stock batteries run out, be sure to pick up replacement batteries with a 1.5 voltage as opposed to a 1.2 voltage. It could also be a smart idea to choose rechargeable batteries if you're conscious about your carbon footprint. Coming back to the headset battery life, one mean method to extend gameplay would be modding it with an external power bank. But not just any may work. What you ideally need is a power bank that has USB Type-C output because the charging cable has USB-C on both ends of the cable. This cable is particularly efficient at power delivery, which helps charge your Quest 2 faster than, say, a regular cable with USB-A at one end and a USB-C at the other end. To get more specific, you would need to look for a DC of 5 volts and 3 amp discharge. A 10,000 mAh capacity should add more than 6 hours of gameplay. Most people online prefer an Anker power bank for this. In my Indian experience, I found it difficult to source an Anker power bank locally with a Type-C output. So the next best option for me was to go in for the Aukey power bank with a USB-C PD or power delivery output. Now, right off the box, the adjustable material stock head strap that you get seems a little cheap and not quite as secure as one would like. Adjusting the bands at the back of your head takes some getting used to and can still feel a bit shaky because of counterbalance issues. One headset accessory I found worthy of splurging on is the Elite strap. This is a rigid, hard plastic head strap with counterweight at the back that cups the back of your head comfortably, and if you're likely to have long gameplays, I would definitely recommend getting this. Now, coming to controller accessories, definitely pick up controller grips. You'll find them incredibly useful during gameplay. You want to be able to, for instance, throw a ball or a gun, etc., and let go of the controller entirely for play immersion. These grips will help go around your knuckles securely so you can release your fingers from the controllers while having them safely rested on your palm as you do this. The ones I've personally picked up are the AMVR grips that were meant for Quest 1 but also snugly fit the Quest 2. Another piece of lens-related accessory you might consider are lens covers, which are useful for when the Quest is not in use or if you're traveling somewhere with it. I did receive a complimentary lens cover with my AMVR grips, but they're a tad too big as they were originally meant for the Quest 1. To maintain your lenses and keep them free of dirt, you can use a locally sourced microfiber cloth, the type that you typically use for glasses. Avoid using any other material or for that matter any liquid or chemical cleansers. Just gently wipe them from time to time and they should be good. An extra accessory I'd like to plug in here, which most people may not immediately think of, is one of safety. Now, the Quest does have an internal guardian feature where you can outline your play area, so whenever you're close to the boundaries, it'll throw up grid lines to alert you so you can reposition yourself and not bump into any furniture. The accessory I'm talking about, though, are these nifty interlocking mats on which you can stand and play on. It's easy to forget your position and direction in the room when you have a headset on. These mats, though, give you an intuitive understanding of where you're standing so you can instinctively recenter yourself without a nagging worry in your mind. That's it for the important accessories. Let's now explore the actual experience of the Quest. Personally, it's unlike anything I've ever tried before. The first thing you'll notice when you start it off is a spatial depth and immersion you instantly feel as you look around you. There are a few virtual environments that you can pick from. There's this beautiful winter lodge where you feel transported to the Himalayas, a gorgeous Ryokan retreat, a space station, and even a futuristic cyber city, among others. This should definitely be one of the first things you make your family or your friends try out for themselves. Another experience is a free app on the Oculus Store called First Steps. This is a fun way to get familiar with the controllers and gives you a good understanding of how incredible VR can be. Another free app worth a try is Big Screen VR. Big Screen is typically a platform where you can rent out movies and watch them in a theater-like environment. You also have public rooms where you can indulge in karaoke and random movies that are being screened at that time. This really has a theater feel where you can see and choose to speak to avatars of other people the world over who are in the room experiencing Big Screen VR just like you. Other free experiences include Mission ISS and Echo VR, which get you feeling like you're floating in zero gravity and moving about. While it sounds cool and could be a novel experience for most, a warning here is for folks who easily feel motion sick. This will trigger motion sickness, so if you have this tendency like me, I'd recommend staying away. If you insist on having this experience, however, what can help are motion sickness bands that you can wear around your wrist that helps with the nausea, and ginger juice or ginger tea, which do reduce this unfortunate effect to a degree. On to paid apps now. I would recommend picking up Richie's Plank Experience if you want to frighten your folks just a little bit. It's a game where you're at the top of a high rise and you have to walk onto a plank with a sheer drop and nothing on either side. It can induce vertigo, so be sure to help people experiencing this, especially if they're old or vulnerable. I've seen videos where people really lose their sense of surrounding and take a bad fall. Another app I would highly recommend for its entertainment and fitness quotient is Beat Saber. There are plenty of videos on this, so I won't dive too deep into it. Suffice it to say that it's my absolute favorite app on the Quest 2 when I want a good workout on some amazing songs. Another fitness app I would recommend buying if you want to break a mean sweat is FitXR. FitXR has some great options for boxing and dancing. It could even be a good substitute for gymming occasionally. For folks who love art, I highly recommend Tilt Brush by Google. It is entirely another feeling when you're able to create 3D drawings and walk through it to see it from behind. There's also another app called Gravity Sketch, which I haven't purchased yet, but I hear the creators are going to make it free on the 21st of January, so that's something to look forward to. On to games, I've played 11, which is a table tennis game. For an occasional TT player like me, it feels surprisingly real. The intensity of the hit, the way it lands, it also helps that the controller tracking is phenomenal as you play along. Now, I personally refrain from playing these intense dishoom games as I find them too violent, but my partner loves them, so the ones he recommends are Population 1, Onward, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, and Pavlov Shack. There are elaborate gameplay videos and detailed reviews for these on YouTube, so do look them up should they interest you. Pavlov Shack particularly was one I sideloaded onto the Quest using the SideQuest platform. Now, SideQuest is an alternate, non-official platform to get some really interesting games and apps that are not officially listed in the Oculus Store. Most of these apps are free and are typically beta versions that are launched first to gauge audience adoption and reviews. That is entirely a different topic though and may warrant a separate video. If you like my very first attempt at a YouTube video and would like me to delve into, say, aspects I don't like about the Quest, alternate VR options in India, SideQuest, etc., like this video, let me know what you think via comments, and subscribe to this channel. Bye now.